but enough talking about how we support the show. What do you say, my friends, that we just do the damn thing?
On the day that we met on the internet, I asked her for a photograph. She sent it over to me, said, I know it's ugly. And I said, girl, ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine, 'cause you're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
Ladies and gents, welcome everybody to the Justin Robert Young program. My name is Justin Robert Young. It's not just a clever name. Folks, the modernization of this podcast continues. I'm doing my best, baby. I'm doing my best to come back to you guys and be better. I want to be a better man for you. And part of that means getting my shit together and recording my ads before I do the show. Now, you're not going to know this if you were just listening to the podcast, but I pre-recorded my ads. So when I fucked up in the ad, I didn't have to just roll with it or stammer over stuff. I could actually record it professionally and make sure I got all the points I needed to get in. Oh my God. This is a breakthrough. Also, thank you to everybody who took the survey that we put out there. You can still go ahead and take it if you go to my Twitter, twitter.com/JustinRYoung. That is where you can take a survey about the show and go ahead and put in a lot of very useful information that we can use going forward to continue to make not only the podcast better, but also do things like know where we can go tour. And we mapped out where everybody is, and we got some really, really, really great information and data on where we can go do live shows, which I'm very excited to do. So let's go ahead and get things started, huh? I went to Vegas. I went to Vegas over the weekend. We did Scoops Fest, and I love Scoops Fest. If you are not familiar with Matt and Mattingly's Ice Cream Social, then I think you should be. Go ahead and check them out. They are great. They are very, very talented, and they've got an amazing little community. They put together a little 2-day convention out there in the Vegas, and gosh darn, man, they had like about 200 people hanging around, and they were just having the time of their lives. We did Night Attack there on Saturday, and then Brian did his live show, his magic live show, and I made a return appearance as Carson Davis Young, the all-set-up magician, in which I feel like I got my mojo back. I did a Carson Davis Young appearance in Dragon Con, and I don't think a lot of people, I think like we had a way crappier very crappier reaction. It was a crappier performance by me because my back was killing me. But then I got my mojo back out there in Vegas. I was very, very, very excited to do it. There's this one moment, if you've never seen my fake magician character, the all set-up magician, this is something that I didn't do at Dragon Con that I did do at Scoops Fest, is I did a lot more just going out into the crowd. And so the idea is I'm the all set-up magician. I don't pay off the trick, but I set up a bunch of crazy tricks that you have no idea where they're going. because they're intentionally, like they're half improv. They're silly, right? And so I go out into the crowd, and there's a lot of me doing this very magician-y kind of like, oh man. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try. Are you guys ready to, let me try something? Okay. Here we go. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try something. And I find some guy and I'm like, okay, sir, how many places would you have called home? Called home. You're born into your family home. You might move somewhere with your family, then move somewhere else with your family, then move off with yourself for school or work. How many places would you call home, sir? And he goes, 7. 7. Okay. 7. Okay, do me a favor. I want you to think of one. I want you to think of one and only one of the places that you call home. Just think of that place in your head for the first time. I need you to tell everybody in the room, what is the one place that you are thinking in your head right now that you would call home? Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Montreal. Okay. All right, here we go. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Do me a favor. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes right now. Your eyes are open right now. I need you to close them. I need them to be shut. I need them to be closed. I need you to close your eyes as I speak to you right now. And I want you to imagine that you are not here in this theater, that you are indeed in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You are sitting in a car. Okay? And in that car, you have a steering wheel and you have enough gasoline to get you wherever you want in the world. You can begin driving. You can begin driving anywhere. You can drive north. You can drive south. You can drive east. You can drive west. I need you to think of a place that you would drive to. I need you to drive to that place right now. Drive to the place right now with your eyes closed. Put your pedal to the metal in the car, and I need you to drive to the place right now. Where have you driven? Quebec City. Now, it is at this point that the audience was, much like the Dragon Con audience, not totally getting it. They were not really understanding what was going on. They didn't quite have an idea of the bearings of the bit. But at the point that guy said Quebec City, there came what I can only describe to you listening right now as thunderous laughter. I don't know if it is this is appropriate. I don't really know if this is appropriate. Let me just say that right now. However, have you ever listened to a laugh disembodied from the person and you could guess that person's weight? Because that is exactly what happened. Is that there was a laugh that was so bellowing, so joyful, I almost knew the exact biometric dimensions of the person for whom issued it. Like, it was ridiculous how loud and bassy this laugh was. It was great. It was fantastic. And it was at that point that the audience totally shifted. As soon as this person laughed so loud and was so into it, everybody became into it. Because I looked that man right in the eye after he said Quebec City, and we waited, and that's when the laugh came in. It's in the pause. And I looked the volunteer in the eye, and I go, Quebec City. Okay. And I moved on to the next person. So the idea with this character, if you've never seen it, is that I just keep doing stuff like that. I lead these people through crazy almost nonsensical little little things, little setups, and then at the end I have one moment where it might look like I'm going to bring it all together and reveal that this was all indeed the best magic trick of all time and not some silly nonsense. And I don't want to spoil the joke in case anybody sees it, but I don't. And I don't in very funny fashion, in my opinion. So it was great. And I went to go talk to that guy. That guy, turns out, not only is from the Bay Area, from San Francisco. He, by the way, he said he gave up. This is going to go way local. He said that he gave up when he moved to Vegas just because he wanted to be serious about cutting ties with the Bay Area to prove that he was going to make it out in Vegas and he wasn't just going to give up at a moment's notice. So he symbolically gave up his apartment in San Francisco. That apartment in San Francisco is one block from one of the more, I would say, touristy, because it's a neighborhood that a lot of tourists know, but nicer areas of San Francisco, right next to Chinatown. 4 bedrooms, $1,200. You cannot get that. That's not even a joke. TVC got said hashtag local jokes. Wasn't even a local joke. It's just a local travesty. That man could have had that just for laughs. He just could have kept $1,200 on the payroll. Here's the other funny story in Vegas. I was up early on Sunday to watch football. I had a couple football bets. Made me a couple football bets. I went 2 for 3. The only bet I lost was the one that our Friday hype train tout, our prognosticator, the picker of football games, the Buck RI on Twitter. He made his bet of the week, his pick of the week. I bet with him. His was the only one I lost. I'm not bitter. But after the games, Brian shakes himself up from bed, and we decided to go play a little game of blackjack. I don't want to get too far into it because I think we're going to talk about it on Night Attack. It was a really funny time. But let's just say that Brian and I were doing we were doing ourselves a little impromptu episode of the podcast, right? We were just making jokes. We were having a good time. We were doing little runners, little improv bits with each other. This was very amusing to 2 people, me and Schwood. This was not as amusing to everybody else at the table, which was 3 other players and the dealer. They were not as amused with our antics. And so it became the goal to afflict the comfortable. We were now on a mission to just annoy the people at the table because they did not like our mirth. TV Seagon says so, just like a regular Night Attack episode. Brian's behavior was outlandish and bizarre, and I will leave it to him to tell of just some of the out of this world hilariously inappropriate behavior that he was pulling. We'll probably talk about that on Night Attack. I'll tell you about this right now, though. So at a certain point, I am just trying to annoy everybody else at the table. And somebody makes a comment about how Donald Trump had riled everybody up by saying that people should not be kneeling at NFL games at a speech, and then also that he had continued to keep the heat on Twitter. And so I turned to the guy next to me who made mention about it, And I just looked him dead in the eye, and I was like, wait, what? And he repeats what he said. I'm like, no. Go back. What? He what? And he repeats what he said. I said, no, I mean, I know about the speech, but what was the... Right after the speech, you said something else. Right after the speech, you said another thing. What did you say after the speech? And he goes, oh, Donald Trump said more about it on Twitter. Huh. Twitter? Yeah. Twitter. Like the 140 characters. Twitter. Yeah. Twitter. Donald Trump has a Twitter? And that just began a solid 30 minutes. A solid 30 minutes of whenever I could, I would bring up as if I were shocked. It was the first time I was hearing about it. I would just be like, man, I'll bet you that's a real recipe for problems. Right? He's the president now. Like, you just can't say whatever you... On Twitter, huh? Like what Shaq was on? Oh, my God. Wow. That's a real powder keg. I don't know. I mean, I would be... If I were a fan of his, I'd be like, man, this is getting a little crazy. Twitter, right. Wow. Twitter.com, the website. Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. That's crazy, huh? I like poke Brian in the ribs. Yeah, Donald Trump's on Twitter. I don't know who let him do that. That's wow, nuts. Learn something new every day, I guess. So between my antics and Brian's, Patience starts wearing thin, very thin, with everybody else at the table. The dealer at a certain point asks Brian and I what we do. And Brian, for whatever reason, says that we run a cult on the internet. That's his answer to the dealer's honest question of what we do for a living. So run a cult on the internet. And the dealer, who as an improv partner was a really great dealer, just says, the only cult I know is James Jones in with the Kool-Aid. You guys aren't one of those cults, are you? To which I reply, oh, no, God, no. I mean, not yet. Dare to dream, but no, geez. I mean, I don't want to oversell us. You know, we're just getting started, but it's flattering that you would even insinuate that. I mean, you know, just maybe vision board, The Secret, wish it were true, make it true. You know, maybe something like that. But oh, geez, I don't know. I'm just even getting nervous that you would think that we would be at that level. The dealer did not like that at all, insinuating that we might actually be a cult or that I really enjoyed and aspired to the level of James Jones was something that he also was not pleased about in any way. So it's about this point that sitting next to us are friends of the initial people who were not a fan of us. And the person who's sitting next to me is an old lady I would only be able to describe as mean. She was a mean old lady. And more so than everybody else that we had already pissed off, she was in no mood for our shenanigans on this here Vegas morning, right? Not a fan. So it shocked me when she tapped me on the shoulder. And I'm like, I didn't know that we had this level of intimacy, you mean old lady. You prickly old goat. What on earth could you be looking to engage me in a private conversation about? And then my brain starts turning. Oh, I know. I think she's going to tell me to shut the fuck up. I think I'm going to have to fight this old lady. This old lady thing is about to escalate to a level for which only violence can be the solution. Turn to her, look her dead in her cold, black, doll eyes, and she makes a motion down to her hand. It's at this point that I need to tell you that a friend of a friend, having heard about my back issues, gave to me a bottle of Oxycontin. So I was carrying this bottle of Oxycontin in my jacket pocket when we were being jackasses for a solid hour. Apparently, at some point, we were so mischievous that my bottle of Oxycontin fell out of my pocket and onto the ground. And so she picked up the bottle of Oxycontin and handed it to me as if as an explanation of these two pilled up assholes are the reason why I can't play this fucking card game in peace. They did not call the cops. They were totally cool. Of course, for all they knew, it was my name on the script. So, that's that. I did not take any of the Oxy. It was just kind of there as an emergency procedure, just in case. But, yeah, that's illegal. I probably just admitted to something illegal. Well, no, I mean, I'm just holding it. I didn't take it. It was just there. Is that method acting to the role I play in Prison Logic? So yeah, that was that. It was really, really funny. It was really funny just to see this look on her face like, now I've solved it. Now I've solved the issue. This is what happens with these kids. Oh man, it's an epidemic of opioids. So there's more to that story. We'll tell it on Night Attack, but that was all the jackassery that I got out of it. What do you say we go ahead and get ourselves into some methadone acting? Let's go ahead and get into some of the oddball stories of the week. What do you say? Well, I'll tell you what. Here, let's do news first. Some news stories. This is a big one here. As we mentioned, Donald Trump, President of the United States, he went out and criticized the flag protests at football games, at NFL games. And it touched off a lot of the narrative that Donald Trump, the president, it touched off the narrative that the NFL's ratings and business is softening because of these protests that are happening. The Colin Kaepernick protests last year. Now Colin Kaepernick is out of the league. So it's, other players protesting. And that's why the NFL's ratings are going down. And that's why ESPN's ratings are going down. And that's why the NFL is a problem. Which is really kind of amazing. Because I, as an NFL fan, don't see it the same way. I look at it from another perspective. And that is this. The NFL's ratings are going down because the games are boring. That people are going to less games, and it is hurting the NFL's business because the in-stadium experience is garbage. Not only is it bad, let me put it this way. Not only is it not as good as sitting on your couch and watching a game, but once you kind of knock it off your bucket list of a thing that you do once because you like your team and you want to support them, it's just not that good. You know, everything's super expensive. The tickets only get more and more expensive. The food in the stadium is not all that good and really expensive. Have I mentioned it's expensive? And football in and of itself is not a great sport to watch live. Yeah, Open Bayou says, I used to be a season ticket holder for the Saints. I dropped them because I got tired of 3, 7, and 9 seasons. And that's one of the more consistent teams in the league. That's before we get to the fact that many of the teams in the league are run like absolutely garbage. So this is the story that came out this week. While everybody is freaking out and the president is talking about how the NFL is going downhill because of anthem protests, Gillette Stadium charges fans $4.50 for tap water in cups after bottled water runs out. This is a story from Fox News. New England Patriots fans on Sunday reportedly complained that the stadium charged them $4.50 for cups of tap water after bottled water at that venue sold out. Boston Globe reported that it was unusually hot in Foxborough, and the officials at Gillette Stadium brought double the amount of water bottles for the game. The report says that while temperatures hit 86 degrees, fans requested cups of tap water. The concession stands are not equipped with complimentary water cups, so workers filled soda cups. The Patriots acknowledged the issue. We apologize. That should not have happened, team spokesman Stacey James said. It's the first time that I ever remember this complaint. We are looking into the matter to ensure that it does not happen again. Here's the issue. Football had become so popular, so insanely popular, that the league didn't care how it treated its viewers. It didn't care how much it needed its live fans. So the prices just kept going up because why not? Season ticket prices kept going up because why not? They wanted a way to bilk season ticket holders more than just making them pay for the regular season games they'll go to, plus at least 2 preseason games. And when that wasn't enough, they're like, oh, we're going to make you pay for personal seat licenses. That's what you have to pay for before you pay for your season tickets. Because why not? And meanwhile, everything at the stadium kept getting more expensive. The time that you could come out and tailgate would be more, less and less. And at a certain point, it just became kind of an absolute, unless your team was amazing, it just became a lot easier to maybe hope your team wins from the comfort of your own home, where you can drink whatever you want and the food isn't going to be all that expensive, or go to a cool bar where you can drink whatever you want for a lot cheaper than you would in stadium, and you can watch on gorgeous, amazing, gigantic, crystal clear 4K TVs for a lot cheaper. And meanwhile, for the people that were just kind of on the borderline with the games, as soon as the games aren't all that great, when all your friends on social media aren't screaming and yelling that amazing stuff is happening, and instead they're joking about how crappy the game is, then hell, there's just a lot more that you need to pay attention to. And I'm not saying that there's not a element of this that is driven by people that are offended by the fact that the flag is not being treated in the highest possible regard. I just also think that it's consumer unfriendly, really consumer unfriendly on a couple different levels. And it's been getting like that increasingly for a while. And now you're seeing that play out. So, all right, let's get into the news of the weird. That was the news. The news is Foxborough charged a bunch of money for some water. And now they're sorry about it. Let's get into this. Who remembers B.O.B.? B.O.B. was the rapper that was like, magic, magic, magic. Come on, magic, magic, magic. And then what was the other B.O.B. song? All I remember is the lyric, you take your classes, plus you do your taxes, and you stay real while them others stay plastic. Somebody find out what that is, what that song is. Plus you do your taxes. This is I'm old. The segment wherein I now just do what I will do for the rest of my life, which is say, what was that song? What was that song? Airplanes. That's it. Yeah. That was with the Paramore singer girl, right? So he has been embroiled in an issue for the past year and a half. And I don't really know exactly how much it's doing for his career. I can't imagine it's good for his career. But he has come out very, 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 very hard as a flat earther. Yes, flat earth. He does not believe that the earth is round. And he has posted videos explaining this point. It's been a thing. At a certain point, Neil deGrasse Tyson started yelling about him on Twitter. So he lit him up in a diss track. And the diss track's actually pretty good. I don't want to play it because I might get this thing stricken from YouTube. And then I think Neil deGrasse Tyson's like nephew or their cousin or something, he did a diss track to B.O.B.'s diss track. Not as good. Not as good. B.O.B. won that, which is sad because I'm a round earther and I want the round earth rappers. We could have had a better round earth rapper representative is all I'm saying. We didn't. I don't know why it stopped with Neil deGrasse Tyson's little cousin. Well, B.O.B. is back, and he's got something to say. B.O.B. has started a GoFundMe campaign to prove that the earth is flat. It's from Time Magazine. Rapper B.O.B. made waves last year for tweeting that the earth is flat. Now he wants your money to help prove his theory. Late last week, he started a GoFundMe campaign, the Show B.O.B. the Curve, aiming to find evidence that this planet is actually round. Help support B.O.B. purchase and launch multiple satellites into space, reads his fundraising page description. He'll be keeping you updated with step-by-step documentation of the process. Help B.O.B. find the curve. Since the campaign launched on September 21st, 27 donors have given a total of $596 at the time of this writing. He's aiming to raise $200,000 for the product. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look here at what it's at right now. So he's got a $1 million goal I guess that went up from 200,000, huh? $1 million goal. He has raised $2,136. 69 nice people in 5 days have donated to it. So here's what he has written in his own words. What's up, guys? Help support B.O.B. purchase and launch one, if not multiple, satellites into space. He's donated $1,000 to the cause to get it going, and will be keeping you updated with step-by-step documentation of the process. Help B.O.B. find the curve. Let's go ahead and take a look at his little video here.
What's up, y'all? It's Flat Earth Bob here. I'm starting this GoFundMe because I would like to send one, if not multiple, satellites as far into space as I can, or into orbit as I can, to find the curve. I'm looking for the curve.
All right, guys, what's going on here? Is this a scam? Because I don't believe this. Listen to this one more time.
What's up, y'all? It's Flat Earth Bob here. I'm starting this GoFundMe because I would like to send one, if not multiple, satellites as far into space as I can, or into orbit as I can, to find the curve. I'm looking for the curve.
Like, did somebody start this and he just like did that one? Like, I had not seen that. I was waiting. I was waiting to see it, to get a sense of it. But I was hoping that he was serious about this, because here was my hot take. My hot take is that I hope this succeeds. And I hope he does exactly what he says. Because my point is that if this GoFundMe succeeds and is carried out, it's the most significant moment in space since the moon landing. For this reason. If private space travel is at a point that a total crank can go ahead and raise money on GoFundMe and actually put multiple satellites into orbit, so he might prove to himself that this is not a great conspiracy, and indeed on his own equipment that he has sent up and verified, that he can prove to himself that there is indeed a curvature to the earth. If that element of frivolousness is something that is now within a price range that people can do, then that is the kind of real world proof that we need to have that private space travel has done just wonders for our ability to interact with the heavens. Like, because now we're not talking about the NSA sending up satellites. We're not talking about a bunch of other telecommunications companies sending up satellites. We are talking about B.O.B. The guy who wants to have satellites in the air like shooting stars. He could really use a wish right now for $1 million, so we might send 2 or more satellites into orbit. Also, by the way, he said orbit. Doesn't the Earth have to be round for things to orbit? Unless is it orbiting just around the flat end? Uga Yoink says you can send a camera up into lower space with a weather balloon for very, very cheap. Yeah, I think. Can you see the curve of the Earth, though? At what level of orbit can you see the curve of the Earth? That's my question. Yeah. TVZ Gun is actually going to buy $1 million in orbit gum. Yeah, I mean, I mean, if this is a joke, there's like one way that he could like find the curve, and that's like, posting a picture of a curved wiener or something, right? Like, if this is a joke, which now, I mean, just listen to the insincerity in this guy's voice. Hold on.
What's up, y'all? It's Flat Earth Bob here.
All right. I mean, so he's like using, is that like what he says? Does he call himself Flat Earth Bob?
I'm starting this GoFundMe because I would like to send one, if not multiple, satellites as far into space as I can, or into orbit as I can, to find the curve. I'm looking for the curve.
So he doesn't even say the curve of the Earth, right? He says he wants to find the curve. I don't know about this. I don't know about this, Flat Earth Bob. Although I do appreciate the moxie on naming yourself after the idea that the Earth is flat. That's pretty silly. All right, one more weird story. This is a segment I like to call Ew! Are you guys ready? This is a new segment called Ew! Brought to you by Beds. Come on over to beds.com. It is spelled BEDTZ. Beds.com will give you a bed. You might ask for money, but they won't take it. At beds.com, BEDZ.com, you'll get a bed, and it'll man, will it be something that you're gonna want to sleep in? It's crazy. Ask all your friends about beds. Use promo code JURY at checkout to get a bed for free. It's just we're giving them away at beds.com, BETZ.com. I hope that's not a real thing. Is that a real thing? Beds.com. No, beds.com is not. It's not there. All right, here's our segment. Ew! I'm just gonna read the headline. A man's bodily fluid in Detroit airport soap dispensers. Oh! No! All right, maybe it'll be. Maybe it won't be the substance we're thinking of. An investigation is underway in the Detroit Metropolitan Airport and has nothing to do with planes in the air, but soap in the bathrooms. Airport officials say they're investigating an unusual substance found in soap dispensers in the North Terminal restrooms last week. Those who work at the airport say it is believed that the substance is bodily fluid from a man. Traveler Matthew Demers of Clinton Township never expected this. No! So I just used the men's bathroom. I washed my hands and coming to find this out, it's a little disgusting, he said. Oh. No, okay. So they just asked somebody at the airport. That's not somebody that got affected by it. They should have stated that. In a statement, the airport authority says it takes health and safety very seriously at the airport. The question is now, who would do such a thing? I don't even know how someone would find the time to do that. You can just see it is kind of busy around here right now. McClendon, who cleans the bathrooms at Detroit Metro, said the workers do not believe a passenger is responsible. It would have to be a person who had access to the soap dispensers. The way the soap dispensers are under the sink, a passenger would have to know how to get up, under, and untwist them. It really is disgusting. A lot of crazy things happen at the airport. Oh. The airport authority is in the process of installing a new tamper-proof soap dispensers and are more frequently monitoring the restrooms. McClendon says that the cleaning staff had to take extra measures to make sure the liquid soap was in fact soap. We wash our hands in the break room before we come upstairs because there's no telling what's in there. We have to check them when we get to every floor each shift. I don't know what would go through someone's mind to ever think about doing that, said Demers. It's extremely disgusting. So this is a horribly written article, and I don't want to get on the writers here, like Taryn Asher from Fox 2, or Fox 11 rather, in Detroit. Or no, this is from Fox 2 in Detroit. But there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of really, really big questions we have right now. First among equals, it's come, right? It's come. It's come. Let's just say it's come. It's come, okay? Say it's ejaculate, whatever you need to say, it's come. Number 2, which that would even be more gross. Second point. We need to know how and when you're testing it. Because, by the way, I do not want to read that you are testing for this and that it is really, really hard for a passenger to tamper with this unless the next sentence is everybody who has access to that soap dispenser has been detained. Right? And here's the other biggest question. In fact, this should be the first question. Von Huntington has it in the chat room. Who figured this out? Because there's only 2 ways in my mind that this gets figured out. Here's the first. Somebody starts to wash their hands and they're like, is that cum? Is that? That doesn't smell like soap. That smells a lot more like cum. Or somebody caught somebody doing it and they ratted them out. If they have not detained the staff, the janitorial staff, then I'm assuming that somebody found it out, right? Because if somebody got busted jacking it into a soap thing, then, then we would know that would be an open and shut case. That would be one of those, done before it's even begun. That's, there we go. And I wouldn't have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you meddling kids. We need to do more research into this. We need to figure this out. Yeah, that is the other thing. It's like, I don't want to get too graphic here. But if somebody put enough of that into a dispenser so it would squirt out like it normally does for soap, that's more than a day's project. Like that's a real, put it on your on a daily Google Calendar reminder and make sure that you're saving for a rainy day. Flavored toothpaste. They call it soap boxing, and it's a disturbing new trend in airport bathrooms across America. Ew! Brought to you by beds.com. BEDZTZ.com. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to But Your Emails. Wait, that's the other show. It's just your emails. Go ahead and check us out by emailing into the show, JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com, JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com. We asked you, or we talked last week about professors sleeping with students. And man, did we get us some emails. Brian writes in, I'm a professor, never had a relationship with a student as far as I know. None of my coworkers or colleagues have. No crazy sex parties either. Maybe I need to change my focus to another discipline. When I was in my master's program, however, there was a prof who was notorious for hitting on female students. I don't ever think he got anywhere with them. Some of us complained to the department chair about him, and the chair asked me, quote, do you think he's ever come to a class drunk? End quote. That isn't a question that you ask out of the blue. In the same department, after I left, I heard that one of the male profs had a wife who divorced him somewhat suddenly, and he went into a spiral. He then ended up hooking up with a grad student. After she graduated, he got her a job as an adjunct at the department. Both of those were like 15 years ago, and I haven't heard any stories of prof-student relationships since. Well, that clears it up. Except for all these other stories. Wubba lubba dub dub. Not that Brian's story is any less true. Of course it's true. But these are also true. Anonymous Diamond writes, one of my best friends in high school was a girl. Since I'm a guy, we kind of joked that we were carrying on a tradition since my mom and her dad were also best friends in high school. We'll call her Kate. Kate was secretly having sex with the JROTC instructor all 4 years. All 4 years? All 4 years. And while I was a little bit suspicious, I never confronted her about it. She graduated that year after I did and turned 18 and finally went public that she was dating and eventually became engaged to the teacher that she'd been sleeping with, who, by the way, was older than her dad. Yipes. My mom was horrified. And anytime I mentioned I was going to hang out with Kate, she would comment about how she was blown away by what she was doing and how I needed to talk some sense into her. Looking back, a lot of things make more sense knowing what I know now. One thing that jumps out at me is how one day of my junior year, Kate called me in a full-blown panic, telling me that the girls' gym teacher was caught having sex with a male student and that she resigned and the student lost his Division I basketball scholarship. At the time, I did the usual, "Oh my God, no way" response you would expect, but now I realize that she was reaching out to me to help her figure out what she should do should her own situation become public. Kate and the guy are no longer together, and she is now engaged to somebody her own age. I've since had a post-mortem talk with her about it all, and she says she doesn't really regret what she did, but regrets sticking out with it as long as she did. Oh my God, Anonymous Diamond. Dav writes, so I went to an art college many moons ago at a school here in Vancouver called the Center for Digital Imaging and Sound. It was, as it doesn't exist anymore sadly, a new media art college where I learned music production, engineering, and sound design. It was a blast! I had way too much fun at CDIS back in the day. A typical college stories happened there, made new friends, hung out with cool instructors, had your mind blown with new things you learned every week, the huge. And for a long time, it was all fun and games, getting better at what you love to do with super cool people. And silly stuff like sneaking beer into the recording studio and figuring out where in that wing of the campus the security cameras couldn't see you so you could make out a little and play grab ass between recording sessions with sexy people. It was absurd. So after some time, I'm crawling into the campus mezzanine at dawn, hoping to get a few moments of sleep to shake off the lingering stupor from the night before. I curl up underneath a line of desks where the PowerMac G5 towers are for students to use to work on various projects. A clue to how long ago this was. And just as I'm dozing off, a not-so-hushed murmur comes across the students in the building. Apparently an instructor and a student, I knew both, were outed as humping on the side, and unlike other colleges, sleeping with students at CDIS was super duper off limits. So the vibe was like watching a dead man walking toward the gallows, to say the least. Shit, I said to myself. Glad I never got caught in an awkward sex situation like that, knowing little of what the future would hold. Smash cut to a year later. I go through school, and I finish and move out into the world. I go on to record podcasts and bands and get a job selling records for a while. I build film and editing computers for a bit, all while keeping up with my favorite instructors, including one that we'll call John Doe. So I'm showing up to his DJ nights, listening to their podcast, shaking hands, and chit-chatting with local concerts at our recent projects. It's all fun and easygoing until I start my current job, where I make friends with a lady we'll call Jane Doe. One day, Jane is milling about after work, and I'm like, why are you still hanging around this jib joint? And she's like, meh, I'm waiting for my boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, Yeah? Some scenester dude, huh? And she's like, actually, he's here right now. And in saunters John Doe. We do a double take. Dav, he says. John Doe, I ask. Jane goes, wait, you know each other? Yeah, for years, we both say. Smash cut again. When a pro wrestler I was dating at the time and I had broken up, and Jane Doe and I are having dinner airing our mutual grievances about becoming single again. 1 drink leads to 3 drinks, 5 drinks leads to 6, and we stumble back to Jane's place. That night, I end up sleeping with the lady who trained me how to do my job weeks after she stopped sleeping with my old instructor who taught me a lot about what I need to know about music and engineering. So as I'm staring at the ceiling, listening to the March rain starting down, all I could think of was that old song, Strange Love Triangle. And that's the story about how my college instructor and I ended up sleeping with the same lady who was also my coworker. Ah, Canadian Eskimo brothers are the best Eskimo brothers. Grayson writes, I was listening to your most recent episode of the JuRY show when you brought up a professor having sexual relations with his students. I just moved to Rochester in May, and I already have come to find out that it seems almost normal in Rochester for teachers to have sexual relations with students. Around a month after I moved to Rochester, I was listening to a morning talk show on the radio, and they were talking about such a case, and they talked about how you can almost expect at least one case to happen each year. And I'm talking all grades of schooling, not just college. It's to the point that I don't know if I have to decide to have a family. I don't think I want my kids going through Rochester school systems. Sorry for the long-winded email. I just thought you might want a little bit more perspective on the matter. That's what I'm telling you, man. Places ain't meant to be that cold. That's just a fact of life. Jason writes, anyway, one of my friends in high school was a beautiful 17-year-old mature student girl. Me at 31 now, I would have guessed she was 25, the way she dressed, looked, and spoke. She fell in love with a music teacher, and this music teacher did with her too. You say that to me now about a stranger and all these assumptions about what a music teacher was like come flooding into my head. Creepy, manipulative, touchy. Not at all. I spent a lot of time with this guy as my major, quote unquote, was music in high school, in the sense that I went to college for a music performance scholarship. Anyway, he was just kind of a regular guy. Divorced, had a dog, had a home in town, really into the Indianapolis Colts, and music, of course. And spent more time doing stuff with his job than most people do because he's a music teacher and that's all they do. He was never overly touchy or overly friendly with the students like some teachers, where he never really paid more attention to the hot girls like some male teachers did. He was a disciplinarian when he needed to be and seemed like a normal, focused teacher. How it happened? Well, Kate told me she was just in a normal one-on-one situation with him after class. They did not bang in the music room. They just talked. She told me that she only talked to him at school for a month before she asked to see him on the outside. She said that they got along really well. One thing led to another, and that they let what they were feeling happen after a couple months. She said he was always apologizing that he really shouldn't be spending so much time with her, but that he didn't stop the relationship and she didn't want him to. Of course, someone saw them outside of school because they were dumb. Rumors started flying. Dude actually didn't try to lie his way through it, got taken out of the school by the cops, immediately pled guilty in court, and the girl's family allowed her through them to ask for leniency. He lost his teaching license, moved out of the state, and I never really knew what happened from there. The girl was devastated about it at school and was devastated, and the school was insufferable to her, as you might imagine. Not that that treated her badly, but they treated her like she either got forcibly raped in the streets and she must be broken inside, or that that they were treating her like she was a creepy alien because she was banging a teacher. She had all the credits to graduate early in January, so she moved on quick. I graduated in June, and the funny thing is, I then go to a college where there are 18-year-old prepubescent girls running around like chickens with their head cut off. At the time, I was thinking legally, these children could fuck every professor in this school and nothing would happen. But I would be disgusted at the professors. And he asked me what I would think. So that's the end of the professors, or at least the ones that we selected for the professors banging students emails. I kind of did a little bit more thinking on this, and I do think that there is a line between 18-year-olds who are in college and younger kids in high school. Because even if this girl who acted and looked like she was 25, what the biggest line is understanding the power dynamics of relationships, right? And establishing healthy power dynamics in relationships. And that's where the danger in teacher-student stuff lies, no matter the gender. And if you are an 18-year-old and you are already allowed to go to war and vote, then we're really out of, a jurisdiction on your genitals, right? It might be frowned upon to bang a 40-year-old, but you should be allowed to. So I think that the larger issue here with the high school stuff is like, listen, I don't care how nice everybody was. That's something that's a no-no. That's a problem. You should, no matter what, be the adult and say, I understand that there might be feelings betwixt us, but I'm going to have to go ahead and take a pass. Sorry. Look me up. Look me up when you're out of school. Yeah, that one's a problem. I definitely, but I will say this. I can understand where that last emailer was coming from. Who was it? Jason. Where Jason was coming from. Because it's got to look weird. You got this friend who seems to be more put together than these girls that are, could bang professors, and what is the line? If the law could be made based on the emotional maturity person by person, maybe you would have a case for a different situation. Unfortunately, these things kind of got to be written one size fits all. Renegou says, it's not all about the age of consent, but it's the dependent professional relation that's the real issue. That can make a term of consent a whole lot more complex. Yeah, I would agree with that. One more email, and then we're out of here. Cappy writes, I haven't had time to listen the past couple weeks due to the hurricane. Oh, Cappy's out of Tampa, by the way. I had so much to do because of the storm. I don't listen to the podcast at an increased speed because it sounds weird. But to catch up, I've been listening at 1.5 speed, and the last JuRY episode was amazing because of it. It made the pace feel so much different. I love the show regardless, and don't know if it would be the same for other episodes, but if you have time to listen to Dr. Dick Pick at 1.5 speeds, it will be a great listen. Well, other people, if you have not listened to Dr. Dick Pick, go ahead and try it out for me and tell me whether or not it is indeed worth it. Oh, Jesus, sorry. All right, everybody. Remember, you can email us, JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Justin R. Young. You can join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. And by the way, I think somebody set up the JuRY podcast? JuRY podcast .reddit.com. So reddit.com/r/JuRY podcast. Someone let me know if I got that wrong. Also, if you want Diamond Club stickers, you can sign up for the stickers or DIAF mailing list. That is bit.ly/stickers or DIAF. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your old pal Justin Robert Young, letting you know that me, personally, I'm reminding you to please don't die!
Do you like how your hair gets cut? Do you like when your friends fuck up? Don't you think you have had enough? I'll keep on advice till
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.